This is an interesting one. So this book is steamy. Thought that I made a bad decision. I still have a ton of books that I need to read. Hello, loves, and welcome to the second tabletop TBR reading vlog where I read my tabletop TBR picks for the month. Woo woo woo. So admittedly, I have cut back quite a bit on my reading lately. I have a bunch of stuff going on, so I'm just focusing on really getting through the tabletop TBR picks slowly throughout the month. So we have 5 picks here plus a wild card, so we'll be going through 6 books, and yeah, hopefully it'll be a lot of fun. I'm gonna try not to take so much footage because I am behind on editing right now. So I guess let's get into it. Hello. So today is August 12th, Thursday, and I am listening to The Master of One. I'm not feeling too great today, so I'm kind of like lounging, working on work tickets, and just listening to the audiobook. I am a good ways through it at this point, and there are parts of it that I really like because it has a good like D&D feel, which is what I like in my fantasy. There were a ton of really cool ideas right off the bat with this kind of trial almost thing, like unlocking puzzles and all of this stuff that I'm all like, oh, I totally want to use this for my own campaign and world, and it was just so exciting. And then we kind of got through that part and it's getting into the actual story, and again, there are some pretty interesting parts about it that I really like, but it's dragging a little bit, which is one of the problems that I feel like you end up getting with big chunker fantasies. It's trying to tell me a bunch of information about like a whole different thing. Now we're in kind of a different storyline, and part of me is like, I don't really care, but we just started it, so odds are that, you know, in a little bit I'll get interested in this character and really like it. But this is the part that I'm not the biggest fan of when it comes to fantasies. This experience, even if I end up enjoying everything in the end, the experience of kind of info dumping, it's just not my favorite. I rather find that information out in more interesting ways, and I feel like this book did a really good job of that in the beginning parts of the book. So I'm hoping that this is going to be a short part where it kind of transitions into something else and then gets interesting again. I think they're trying to do that with the info that it's telling you, having it be kind of all like, oh, this tragic thing happened. But I guess because I have built a connection with a different part of the storyline or different characters within the storyline, that switching over, I almost don't care because I don't know how it connects to the overall theme of things. I don't know. So I'm interested basically in seeing how it goes. Overall, I'm enjoying it, but it is a book that it's really hard for me to get through because I'm constantly wanting to just take a break. Okay, so I seem to have finished Master of One somehow. Yeah, that was interesting. I was getting into it, enjoying kind of how things were going. I feel like there was a lot of cool epic stuff to it. There's part of me that was kind of all like, okay, I want to see where this goes, so I kind of wanted it to move along a little bit, and then all of a sudden it was done. And I was not expecting it to just be done. So yeah, I enjoyed this. Again, when it comes to epic fantasy that has like so much going on, I definitely have a hard time being as invested as other books. But it's interesting because regardless of that, I end up enjoying it in the end. Like, I feel like it's a really cool idea. I do just wish that fantasy books like these just cut out a lot more. Like, I wish this book was like half the size. Like, maybe it can't be But you know what I mean? Like, I wish they could cut out a significant amount to just give you the parts that are interesting. Not that the rest of it isn't, it's just that it's so long. Like, there's so much going on, and some of it I'm pretty sure we don't. But again, this is not the type of book that I'm used to. But again, I always end up like, whoa, that was cool. Like, I enjoyed this. I'm assuming this is part of a series. It's funny because the ending feels like it's part of a series, but I'm also kind of like, was that like the end? Is it like an open-ended ending? Like, it could be the end. Like, that could have been it. Like, so I don't know. I'm thinking that I'm going to give this, I guess, a 4 stars, because I did enjoy it quite a bit and I got a lot of really good ideas out of it. I was really excited about how they kind of did certain things. I think I love this most as like a GM more than a book reader. Because it had such cool ideas that I was totally invested in, thinking like, oh, this is awesome. There was a bit of a romance that was going on in here that I enjoyed. I don't know, I feel like some things were a little bit slow and some things was drawn out. Like, there was just parts that I was like, okay, like whatever. And then there were other parts that I was like, yeah, what's going on? So yeah, that's where I was with this. I enjoyed it quite a bit. 4 stars. I don't know if it's a high 4 stars, but it's definitely a 4 stars. So now I guess I should pick the next book. Actually, I guess I'll pick that tomorrow since I'm not starting another book tonight. It's pretty much my bedtime. Good morning. So today is Monday, August 16th. I still have a ton of books that I need to read. I have to read all of this plus a wild card. And I think that's it, actually. I think this is the rest of my TBR because I've read 1 book this month. 1 book, and it's already the 16th. I am very behind on my reading. But yeah, I have sleepy pineapple hair because I thought it looked cute, and then looking at it on camera, I'm all like, it's not as cute as I thought it was, but whatever. I'm thinking that I'm going to be reading this one next, Accidentally Engaged by Huang. I ended up starting this a couple months ago, I think, because I had the NetGalley copy. I was able to read a good chunk of it, and then I ran out of time, but I had gotten the physical copy when it came out. I'm excited to finally finish this because I was really enjoying it when I was reading it, but I usually don't have a lot of time to read physical books. Fortunately, I just got the audio copy from my library. Good morning. So I have finally restarted Accidentally Engaged, and I'm a good chunk into it, and I'm really enjoying it. It's fun, it's cute, it's sweet. We have characters who are fake dating in a really complicated situation, who, you know, are just kind of trying to deal with their feelings while at the same time working on a kind of competition for engaged people. It's a lot, it's adorable. There's things I love, there's things I'm like, but overall I'm really into it. I have also busted out my Copic markers and am doing a video for my art channel. I haven't really done any speed paint type videos in a while, so I'm trying to finish that before work. I don't have a lot of time left, so we'll kind of see how that goes, but I plan to continue reading Accidentally Engaged while working on the sketchbook stuff. Okay, so I just finished Accidentally Engaged. I absolutely loved it. It was super adorable. I'm a little bit bummed that I didn't read it all at once. I read the first 16 chapters several months ago at this point, so I remembered everything that had happened, but like all of the little tiny details, like some things have came up towards the end that I was like, ooh, I don't kind of remember that happening. So I missed out a little bit. I probably would have enjoyed it even more had I read it all in one go. I adored it though. It was super adorable. I'm tempted to give it 5 stars, but again, it's one of those books where I really enjoy it, but I don't know if it's necessarily a favorite. But again, it's possible that I would have enjoyed it even even more if I had read it all in one go. So I don't know. I think I'm gonna give it a high 4 stars, but I'm like on the fence. It was adorable. It was a romance. There was a lot of representation in it. I personally like the fake dating trope, so I thought that was enjoyable. There were some things that I wasn't necessarily into, but I thought it was still cute. Like, it was really done in an adorable way. So yeah, on to the next one. Hello. So, hi. It is currently Friday, August 20th. I have finally started the 3rd book on my TBR for the month, and man, boy, am I behind. A lot of things has been going on. There's some just kind of like family things that I'm working with. I did get to spend some time with my mom, which was really nice while I was kind of dealing with some other stuff. And I just got back from that. And on my way back, I started listening to You Say It First by Katie Cotugno. I'm sorry. But yeah, this is an interesting one. It is a YA romance, and it's pretty much a opposites attracts that is sparked by a conversation that happens when our main female character calls the male character for her job, trying to convince him to register to vote. That's kind of how it all happens. It doesn't go quite as planned, and it kind of sparks to multiple conversations after that. A friendship devolves, and kind of more comes from that. And I have been enjoying it. I will say it's gotten to a point where part of the story is dragging a little bit, but it seems like things are about to turn around pretty soon, so hopefully we'll still enjoy it. I have to kind of wait and see how it goes. Okay, so I have just finished You Say It First, and although I really enjoyed a lot about this book, I'm kind of disappointed, unfortunately. So basically, I love the two different characters and kind of the contrast between them. I really liked the relationship setup that they had between the two main characters and kind of how their relationship was growing and stuff like that. I really liked that. Then it kind of got to a part where I just felt like it was dragging a little bit, and then a couple of things kind of happened after that point. I wasn't really into the romance or the chemistry or things like that, that it was kind of lacking in that department, and you know, it never really got back. I never really got super invested in them after that. So that's a bit of a letdown. There are a lot of things that I thought were pretty cool. Some things I felt like were glossed over. Some things just weren't as satisfyingly dealt with. I don't know. I feel like maybe it was trying to do too much. Like, I almost felt like there were 3 different stories going on, and none of them got the amount of time that they needed. And I feel bad because I feel like I'm being more harsh on it than it deserves, but I don't know, it just for some reason just wasn't for me. It is still a good book, and I do think some people would enjoy it. It just didn't do it for me. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend it, but I also wouldn't not recommend it, if that makes sense. It's a 3 stars. I still had a good time, and I feel like some people will still really enjoy this. Probably way more than I did. Okay, now between the 2 books that I have already picked out that I still need to read, I have a wild card available as well, but I might as well get through these. I'm for some reason not really excited about this one. So part of me wants to try and get through this and have this as kind of like my carrot at the end. And I think the reason why I'm not excited about this is because I don't know what type of book this is. Like, I don't know if it's a romance, I don't know if it's contemporary, I don't know if it's just like chick lit, or I don't know, like I don't know what it is. And I will admit that I tend to not be into books that are just like contemporary. Like, if it has to be a romance related book if it's gonna be of that sort, usually, for me to enjoy it. I'm not saying that is always true. I'm nervous. From whodunit to ghost story to come of age to romance, there is enough plot to fill several more novels. Okay, so apparently there's a lot going on, and hopefully it's done well. The last book, I felt like there was maybe too much. Let's get into this one. Okay, so I started The Night Night Tiger, and it's very interesting. At first, I thought that I made a bad decision because I kind of just like wasn't into it. I think after reading a romance novel that wasn't super satisfying to me, I really just wanted to read another like rom-com romance and like actually get the effect I was looking at. So I was all like, wow, maybe I'm not in the mood for this, which is like not something that typically happens. But yeah, it's interesting so far, and I'm excited to see what the like fundamental storyline, because it's weaving all of these little like plot hooks and they're all starting to come together, and I'm just like really interested in seeing what that is. Like I have a few ideas, but nothing super solid. Hello, loves. So it is Tuesday, August 24th. I still have these two bad boys to finish along with my wild card for the month, and I'm hoping to finish them all this week. I am quite a bit through the Night Tiger, and I have been enjoying it, but I ended up taking a break and just focusing on work stuff and thinking through stuff and projects and all of these things. But hopefully I'll be able to finish this one up pretty quick, and then I will get through this, and I have no clue what I'm going to pick for my last book. I've had a couple of thoughts throughout the month, but I wanted to get through these picked ones first. So now I'm like, I don't know, but we'll get to that when we get to that. In addition, I have been setting up my TN, or my traveler's notebook, for my monthly and weekly planning. I really like being able to write out plans for things, especially when it comes to my content calendar. Now I do sort of have this in Remnote, which is what I'm using right now for like my daily note taking and kind of just like all of my information storing, but being able to see and easily like erase and move things around on a physical calendar, I don't know, it just works the best for me. Yeah, I'm really happy to be using my TN again because I friggin' love this thing. I'm actually thinking of doing like plan with me videos. I'm still figuring things out. So I don't know if I actually talked about my thoughts on this book so far. I'm not 100% sure how I feel about this. I kind of feel like there might be too many things going on, but it's done an interesting thing to kind of try and tie them in, which has made me like interested in hearing how the story is going. I guess there's a part of me though that feels like it's dragging. Just was all like, oh, I've listened to so much of this book, how much do I have left? And it's all like, oh, you have like 4 hours left of this book. And it's all like, how? How is there still so much? So pretty much what I'm getting at is I feel like this book should be done. Like I feel like we should wrap everything up and it should be over, but it sounds like we're like still got a good chunk of stuff to get through. I feel like what's gonna happen is I'm gonna feel like it takes too long to get to the ending, and then it's going to rush the ending. Like right now we should be wrapping things up with how much is going on so that we can have a satisfying conclusion to everything. Now I'm interested to see what I actually think when I finish it. Like, am I wrong about this? Did it turn out being really good? Did they do a really good job wrapping everything up? Am I satisfied or what? But at the moment, I'm feeling a little hesitant about everything. Okay, so continuing the book, also pardon me just being a mess of a human being. I'm just trying to get through the work week, get all of my tasks done, and then hopefully have time to work on some other stuff next week. But anyway, I am having quite an emotional roller coaster of a ride with this book. I'm constantly like, whatever. I don't know how I feel about this, to being all like, oh my goodness, this is really excited. This is really exciting. And then it'll go back to, okay, like what's going on? Like, oh my goodness. Okay, so I finally finished The Night Tiger, and I don't know how I feel about this book. It did do exactly what I said I was worried it was going to do, where it kind of dragged on and then it just abruptly stopped. I do think that it wrapped things up, so like technically it doesn't feel like you're really missing anything. It just kind of happened like really quick towards the end, which I'm not a big fan of. It wasn't as satisfying as it could be. I love a lot of the ideas behind it. I think that's cool, but I just didn't enjoy the book. Like I didn't enjoy it. That makes me so sad because there were some things that were really, really cool about it. So that's disappointing. I think this is a low 3 stars for me. Next up, we have The Bride Test by Helen Huang. And if it's anything like The Kiss Quotient, I'm imagining I'm just going to eat this up. This is probably going to be a quick read. Okay, I started The Bride Test and it was not what I was expecting. I'm pretty sure at least she is in no way related to the guy's family from the last book. She's not related to him. I don't know where that came from. I don't know if there's any relation to the previous book, at least not yet. Been a while since I read The Kiss Quotient. Maybe he's related, maybe, I don't know. We have our main female character who is from out of the country and who was brought in by his mom in an attempt to get him married because he has autism. She's trying to convince him to marry her basically so that she can have a better life. And he's very attractive and her like mom's trying to get her to do it. And you know, she has a daughter and she wants her daughter to have a good life and you know, like all of this stuff. Everybody knows that this is what's happening, including him. Like it's not a behind his back sort of thing. And so far it's pretty cute. Not much has happened yet. We haven't gotten to any steamy parts. I'm enjoying this quite a lot. It wasn't what I was expecting, but I still think it's an interesting premise and I'm here for it. So I'll give you an update when I'm further along. Okay. So this book is steamy. They weren't kidding. So I think we're like halfway through it. We've gotten through some steamy moments already and I'm loving this book. I realize I absolutely adore the stories that I've read so far by Helen Huang in this kind of series because I really enjoy the characters. I really enjoy the focus that is needed when you have characters that are autistic. So one of the characters in this story is autistic and one of the characters in the other story is autistic, and I feel like it ends up doing something that I think people should do, be more accepting about being accommodating to individuals' needs and whatever, and just being really open and communicative, because I'm really big when it comes to communication. Like that's a big thing with me, and as you guys may know, I get really annoyed when books are all about people like lying to each other. I really like that added aspect. Also just in general, I feel like it's really relatable. Like the characters are really relatable with the issues that they end up having. I am loving it so far. Okay, so I just finished The Bride Test and it was sweet, it was steamy, it was fun, it was a good time. I enjoyed it. I will say I'm getting a little bit more critical when it comes to romance. I adored this. I had so much fun. There were a few things that, you know, bothered me a little bit, kind of just all like, oh, come on. I'm thinking high 4 stars, low 5 stars. I really want to read the next one now. Hello, good morning. So today was off to a good start. I ended up getting sick last night, possibly food poisoning, possibly my normal kind of endometriosis, one of the I refer to as top level tier bad experience, which I fortunately don't have very often. And since I didn't have much cramping before or after, I assumed it was just food poisoning, but I feel pretty crap today. Now I'm starting to get crampy and I'm feeling a little bit nauseous again. And just overall, like, I'm like declining. So that's a little bit frustrating. I think I'm gonna take a mostly sick day. I'm probably gonna go back to sleep because I didn't get a lot of sleep last night. I have finished all of my predetermined picks for this month's tabletop TBR. And for my wild card, I thought it would be a good idea to continue the romance train with Loathe at First Sight by Suzanne Park. So that'll be the last book for the month. Okay, so exciting news for me. So I started Loathe at First Sight. I'm really enjoying it so far. It's not exactly what I was expecting. It's pretty relatable. We've got a main character who ends up working at a gaming company, and I work at a gaming company, so it's very interesting seeing some of the stuff that she's going through. But unfortunately, the company she works at is pretty sexist and not very inclusive, and so she ends up having to deal with some very unfortunate situations where she, being one out of 2 lead type females in the company, ends up getting thrown on a project that was said in jest and is now having to deal with the backlash of the gaming community, along with dealing with the sexism and just the shitty experience inside her company. But while all of this is happening, she ends up having to work with somebody that she was not a fan of initially, like right out the gate, and turns out he's not so bad, and there's some sort of budding relationship that's going on. So it's pretty interesting so far. It's definitely a little bit more on the extreme side. I actually wouldn't be surprised if some places are actually this bad still, especially if you're aware of all of the things that are happening with Blizzard and all of the like sexual harassment and sexual assault allegations that are currently going on. This is not surprising. I do think it's interesting the timing of me actually reading this with all of that going on. I'm very fortunate with the company that I currently work at, as it is pretty open and inclusive. Okay, so update on Loathe at First Sight. I will say the enemies to lovers aspect of this isn't particularly strong, and also just the romance aspect as well. I feel like we're more focused on the injustices that women face in just certain industries, in this case the gaming industry. It's actually really frustrating. It's kind of to the point where it's almost like too much, maybe? I don't know. And part of me is just all like, girl, just quit. You don't deserve this. Like, it's not worth it. I don't know. I am still enjoying the book for the most part, but I am right now getting a little bit frustrated because I'm all like, where's the romance? Where's the girl power? Where does she start overcoming all of this? Okay, so I have just finished Loathed at First Sight, and unfortunately it was so-so. I don't think it was bad, but I didn't really like it. I think in general, I'm kind of disappointed. Like, it had so much potential. I was really into the idea, and it just fell flat in a lot of areas. So I'm gonna give this 3 stars. There are things that I liked. So that wraps up all of my books for this month. It feels fairly disappointing overall. Yeah, this month wasn't as good of a reading month for me. I had several books that were just so-so and or disappointing. I had one that I really liked. Overall, I kind of feel like this was just a very average month. So hopefully we do a better job next month. Fingers crossed. It is my birthday month, September 1st. I just turned 31. Thank you so much for watching. If you stuck around this long, include this emoji in the comment section down below. All your comments help the channel and the video, and I really appreciate it. So thank you so much, and I will catch you in the next video. Until next time.